Hello, excellent artists. Today I'm going to show you how to create a range of values, and we're going to do that on a value scale. If you look at this picture behind me, and especially look at the clouds, you'll see that it has a wide range of values. Value is the lightness or the darkness of a color. So if you look at the clouds, there's some areas that are very light, and then other areas that are very dark. And then there's all those values in between. So today I'm going to show you how to create a value scale so that you can start practicing making values and then eventually use them in your own artwork. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to make 3 value scales today. And if you happen to have a ruler, you can use a ruler to make the value scales. If you don't have a ruler, you need anything with a straight edge, like a protractor, or even an index card. The side of something straight, even like a tissue box would work. I'm going to write the word, before I use the straight edge, I'm going to write value scale. And hey, if you can't find anything that has a straight edge, then just draw your lines. This is just practice today, so I don't want you to get worried about making it perfect. But it does make it a little easier if you have, just goes a little faster if you have these. Now, you're going to be using pencil for the first 2. I happen to have a drawing pencil here in my hand, but you could use any pencil. So this, you need 2 lines for each value scale. So here's number 1. I'm going to put 1 right in the middle. And you'll notice I'm just using both sides of the ruler. It helps if you can spread out your fingers and keep them from going over the edge. Try not to tense up when you're using a ruler. Just kind of lay your hand flat and spread it out, and the ruler won't move around on you. I'm going to try to do this one without moving it. It just saves me a little time. That way they're all 3 the same size. The first one we're going to use is called a graduated. And if you want to write this word down, this is a graduated value scale. And we're going to divide this into 5 boxes, which means you're going to draw 4 lines. So 1, try to make them about squares or all about the same size. Now, if one's a little bigger than the others, it won't matter. Or if one's a little crooked. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. And I am right-handed, which means I draw with my right hand. So I'm probably going to start over here on the left, which is opposite of my hand. If you are a left-handed drawer and you hold your pencil with the left, you might want to start on the right. It just keeps your hand from getting messy from drawing with pencil, because believe it or not, pencil will rub off on your hand, especially if you're using a drawing pencil. So the rule is value. The word value means the lightness and the darkness of a color. So on a value scale, we're going to show very, very dark and then very, very light, which in our case, our paper is white, which is the lightest you can get. So we're going to just leave this one blank and then color the first box very, very dark. You want to try to get the whole thing filled in and try to have it the same value throughout the whole box. And it's okay if you turn your paper to do this so that you can get the edges. Whatever is most comfortable for you, that's what you should do. I like to go over the dark one many times, that way it gets nice and dark. Now sometimes the light will kind of reflect off of my dark value, but you can see it is a very, very dark, almost as black as I can get it. Now if you're using a regular number 2 pencil, this is the number 2, you might find that it doesn't get quite as black. All right, in the next box over, I am going to create another value, but this time I'm not going to push as hard. I want to be able to see the difference between these 2 boxes. I don't want them to be the same. This one should still be a dark gray. And you can see that, if I move it around, you can see the different values there. All right, in the middle box, we want a medium gray. So each time I'm not pushing as hard as I did in the first box or the previous box. Now, if it happens to be that when you're coloring this middle box, that this one and this one look about the same, you have two choices. The first choice is to go back and darken this box. The second choice would be to get an eraser and just lift a little bit of that color off of your paper, and you could do that. I don't think I need to do that. I can still see that this is my darkest, almost black value. We've got a dark gray, just a nice gray, and then this box, ooh, this is going to be the trickiest because it has to be super light. So you have to have a super soft touch here. And sometimes if you lean your pencil back, you'll find it's a little easier to get that light gray. Now I'm looking at these two and they almost look the same, so I think I'll go back and make this one a little darker. And I think I will also make this one a little lighter by just erasing a little bit. I don't want to erase it all. Just kind of lift off some of that value. And of course, the easiest box today is the light value, which we're just leaving white like our paper. Now, when you do the next value scale, we are not going to be drawing the lines, okay? What we're going to do is do a gradual value scale. Gradual means that it's going to change from very dark to very light again, but it's going to be a nice smooth. You're not going to see the lines in here. Some people like to turn their paper as they do this, and some people like to do it this way. It's just whichever is comfortable. The important thing is to do it all the same. You don't want to do it this way for a little while and then switch and go the other way. All right, so I'm start off with my dark value up here along the edge. It's nice to kind of be able to look back at that other one. I'm just not super worried about getting it perfect along the edges. I'm worried more about just gradually changing. Now, the way I'm changing the value is how I'm coloring. I'm not pushing as hard. I have a lighter pressure the further away I go. And hopefully by the time I get down here, it just fades out to a very, very light. Now, if this is really bothering you, I know it bothers some people, you can go back and erase where you got out of the lines. You can also just check your edges like that, and then you get a nice value scale. This one, this box right, this value scale, we're going to do a little bit like the top value where it's graduated, but this time we will do it with a hue. And another name for hue is color. So this one I was just using a regular pencil or a drawing pencil. And the last one I am going to use a colored pencil. I'm going to use a red. So let me write that word hue here for you. Hue means color. So I'm going to use a red hue. And I'll start in the middle this time. I am going to just put that color in so we know what color we are trying to change the value of. So just a nice, just colored normal. You don't need to go super dark here. Just try to get that filled in. Now on this side, we are going to do something called tints. And tints are any hue, which in this case we're going to have red, any hue mixed with white. Now our paper happens to be white, so when you mix white and your hue, it's going to get lighter. We don't actually mix, but we're going to let a little bit of that white paper shine through here by just not pushing as hard. Now if you were using paint, you could just use white paint. But we're trying to learn how to do this with pencil today. So this one has to be a little bit lighter. And then this one even lighter still. Now, colored pencil is what I'm using. And the thing about colored pencil, oops, this one needs to be darker. They look too much alike. The thing about colored pencil, well, that's better. But now these two look the same. Let me make this one just a little bit brighter red. Thing about colored pencils, you can never fully, unless you've got erasable colored pencils, you can never fully erase that color. So that looks about right. So we've got a nice red, a little bit lighter. Did you notice when you mix white and red, you get pink? All right, so the next one, I'm going to try to make it about the same as these right here. Just a nice red value. And we are going to make it darker, right? Just like these two values, they were darker. The thing about that is if you have a hue and it's getting darker, we call that a shade. So I'm going to write that word over here too. Shades are on this side. Tints are on the other side. I'm going to do both of these. Just get my color on there. Whoops. Paper moved. Okay, so these three look the same right now. To change the value, to get them into shades, I am going to use my pencil and just color over the top. Now this one I want my medium or my dark red. Now you don't want to cover up all of the red. You should be able to see that coming through. And this one I'll push just a little bit harder. Remember, don't cover up all of your hue. And if it starts to get covered up, if you can't really tell the color anymore, then you should add a little bit more over the top. Just like the first one, you should be able to see the difference between the different boxes. Now the thing is, I like it. If you look at the value scales up close, I'm moving around because sometimes the light reflects off the pencil just a little bit. So you can see this is my darkest red, a little bit darker, my normal red, and then these are even lighter still. You can see the difference between all of those boxes. You can also see this has no lines. This one can be the trickiest for people to learn how to do. So if you're having a little trouble, just keep trying. If you're seeing boxes in here, then you need to keep working on it, okay? Now, once you learn how to do value scales, you can use it for all sorts of things. Keep practicing your values. You can do it on all sorts of things, and stay creative. And I'll see you next time.